Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time to have a look at the TOG again, because it ain't over until the fat lady sings, and they've once again changed the TOG to a bunch. Now, we've been given test drives of it, and if you didn't know, when it comes to the TOG event, it is actually getting to a close. There is 2 more marks left. Well, technically after today, there is only 1 more mark left on the weekend, and then the TOG will be yours. But as a test drive, it should be here in its full setup. Remember last time they actually changed the chassis of the TOG, basically improving its armor, right? So you now have 101 millimeters on it and all of that good stuff. Well, this time, basically the day before they released the test drives, they've completely changed the turret. So instead of it being a 2-part gun mask, which was there before, it is now just one piece of good old cast homogeneous armor, and it has access to 127 millimeters of thickness. Then also they actually buffed the sides of the turret, which is quite nice, to 88.9 and slightly angled, meaning that 113 millimeters. So overall, that's really positive, right? They've increased the armor on the vehicle, which is really nice. They also decreased the weight, so its acceleration should be a little bit better. And also now, since it is in its fully added state, you can also install and uninstall the GWP mod, so you can kind of see it, what it looks like by itself, and then also with the additions of the GWP. Now, what's interesting about the 76.2mm is they've only given it 3-inch smokes, so you don't have HE or anything like that, but I find that kind of fine because the gun itself is not something that's, you know, ever really going to destroy anything. As I said, the way to use this gun is just to fire smokes forward, so therefore you can kind of cover your tracks as you go in. Now, the interesting thing about this TOG is that it's kept its reload, which is really nice. It also still has its good gun depression, and also all of its sides should be modeled now when it comes to the actual armor. And now that it has just a much better armor profile, they've also raised its BR. So instead of it being a 4.7, or instead of it being a 5.0, it's now a 5.3, and that basically means that it can now face all the monsters all the time that will just annihilate it. So, for example, they put up a lot of vehicles to good old 6.0, right, which are pretty powerful vehicles, such as the Tiger E, for example. And the Tiger E has a really nice stock round, the APC-BC. It also has a bunch of these other ones, you know, if you want to kind of bring them along. But the main one you take is just the standard one because it has the most penetration. So basically, as you can see, even though they've increased the armor on the vehicle, it is completely worthless because they have increased its BR. This happens a lot to British vehicles, and just to give you a show on the angled side of things, even on the angled side of things, you can see that obviously it pens the turrets, but the main thing is now that this exists, you can see that there are flat points on the armor, so you will have to remove the modification to get rid of these flat points. This is a weak spot where you can just shoot straight through because it's only 70 millimeters of armor. So all of those people who are saying, oh, we'll just angle it like a Tiger, well, you better do it without this existing, and also without the turret existing, because they'll just go straight through it even when it's angled. Like, this is the best angle you can get, right, on the turret, okay, on something like the Tiger, which you will see all the time, by the way, and this has exactly the same rounds as the 5.7 one, and look, you can just go straight through it every time. So this just gets another it just gets another treatment, which is very similar to what you see from a lot of other vehicles. Now, let's have a look at like the D5T, for example, which has, of course, you know, the standard 365K round, which you always take. You can still pen the front plate, as you can see here. It's not as easy to pen the other areas, which is good, you know. So, if you do a side profile hit, hey, look, you can still pen this area here because it's still 72. So this is literally the weak spot on the vehicle. So if you want to bring along this gun, the good old smoke launcher, basically, you leave yourself up to not being able to angle, because you can shoot here, even with some of the weakest guns at the BR that you'll find, which is, of course, this gun. If you have a look at, like, the American stuff at 5.3, which is the M4A2 with the M62 shell, which is the standard one everybody uses. If you have a look from the front, once again, this front plate, even with the addition of the armor, it can just go straight through. And then also up here, it's a little bit risque to be able to do it, and might not work, which is quite nice. So let's do the angled thing, which everybody was saying you should do. Well, it looks like you can pen here for some reason, but the main thing, once again, is this area. So if you want this vehicle to actually be tanky at all, you have to remove these, which is kind of sad, because it basically means that you can't, you know, have this. Also, the driver's hatch here, where the gun is, where the machine gunner's head is only 76 millimeters. So that's going to be a weak spot from the front too. So wherever you look at this thing, even though it has like armor in a lot of places, there are just weak spots sat all over it. You can see here the hatch for the machine gunner, and then, as I said, if you shoot here, then obviously it's better. So if you remove that modification, right, you lose, of course, the 76, but as we talked about, you gain a lot of armor because of it. So let's just use, once again, the weak gun, which you see at this BR, which is the T34. You can see from the front here, you can still pen, you know, this area, but it gets rid of that very obvious weak spot, which is quite nice, meaning that the round has to do a bit more work. And then from the side, which is, you know, the area where people want to go, the only place you can really pen is the turret. So if you angle that pretty effectively, you know, from the side, and you can see from the front, there are areas of the turret you can kind of pen from this gun, but not really. So against, like, weak guns at 5.3, you can stop rounds, as long as you don't take the upgrade. If you take the upgrade, you're just screwed, because it adds 2 weak spots to your vehicle, which just sucks, right? And it means that people are going to go after them. It's just really annoying that these British vehicles always get put up higher in BR, especially if they're heavy tanks, even though they have a bunch of things which make them not able to fulfill the role that, you know, people see from them. Do you honestly think that this thing is anywhere near the capability of something like a Panther or of something like a Tiger? Do you think that it should be anywhere near that in BR? The only thing that this thing is going to be useful for now is just barreling forward, chucking smokes everywhere like a madman, and then also at the same time basically setting up a scenario where you, by the way, this is the Panther's gun, so you can't stop it. You just can't, and this thing is at 5.3. Just to let you know. So this is the standard thing that you're going to face at 5.3. Good luck angling, by the way. Just good luck angling against that. But the only thing it's going to be useful for is just throwing smoke forward and then just barreling forward and then dying. So you basically create yourself a little bit of a you know, hole in the battlefields where people can't go because your carcass is sat there. That's pretty much all there is. They also added a loading screen for the TOG. I'm not entirely sure if they have actually put it in yet. They have put the night battle one in, as you can see here, and then also at the same time there is the other ones which they've added, which are the 11th anniversary ones. They look actually really nice. So you can see this one here, and then also this one here. So yeah, I don't think the TOG one's in yet. I think you probably have to grind out the TOG one. Usually that's how this goes, because it isn't in this area, which kind of sucks, but hopefully we can see something like that. The loading screen idea that they brought in is pretty cool. I like the fact that they are adding it to stuff now, and I believe that with this you can get yourself the decoration and also this. So there'll probably be a loading screen on for getting the TOG, but also maybe like for getting kills. Make sure to focus on these as well, since they're around, and also the mark of distinction is about for the sailor side of things too. There's a lot of stuff which is going on this weekend, so it's going to be quite hard to keep up. But just understand, this thing started off looking really nice. Like, you know, it started off looking super fun and enjoyable. and now it just, I don't even know, like, they've buffed the armor to a point where now all of its other abilities have just taken so much of a hit, which is just a classic thing that happens with these British heavies. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Brendan Quinn, Vilneus, Character Fuel, Juan the Panda, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, Bareen, Peter Grayling, Alan Hacker, Sem Alslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R., and also Lafouche for supporting the channel.